Still playing at the Carling Live 24. I'm joking. So yeah, no, I might have an. I'm sorry. I'm with Lisa, and she's laughing at me.
We miss you, Alex. We miss you being here before when we come in to do the show. We miss having your cuddly little face behind the desk.
I expect 3 sweets next week.
You're
going
to
wait
them,
3 weeks.
Sister.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
Oh,
Stop
we got
it, you two.
fight.
Okay, listen, have a good time, Alex. Enjoy Star Sailor.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing you back again all safe and sound very soon. Right now, here are Star Sailor. Pete Doherty and 4 Lovers.
Now, are you convinced you're pronouncing that correctly, Adam?
Doherty.
Because it says here on our notes with our playlist, pronounced Doc-Erty.
Oh, really? You're supposed to do a hard C.
Are they right or wrong? Pronounced Doherty.
I used to say Doherty.
Well, the other
like
week,
Jack Doherty.
the other week we had a text message in, I think, praising you for correctly pronouncing the name when other XFM DJs mispronounced it.
Well, then last week, you see, I changed my policy because I'd seen Cat Deeley calling him Doherty.
Doherty.
Doherty. Filthy Doherty. And so I thought I should take a leaf out of Deeley's book.
Well, we're reaching the end of the show. Thanks very much for listening. It's been a random and sort of abstract show this week.
We're in a transition phase. We're killing off Scallywag and the rapping, and
we haven't thought of any new features yet.
We haven't. Well, we have, but we haven't. And we don't even have time to play Scallywag's song. So maybe we'll play Scallywag's song
next week.
Next week. Watch out for that's going to be incredible.
You know, it's generally it's what I call a bunker weekend this weekend. The weather's obviously going to be miserable. It's the weekend. It's a weekend to just stay at home for 3 whole days solidly.
And have what?
Maybe without even getting out of your pyjamas. I might try and stay in my pyjamas.
Yeah.
For 2.5 days. Is that a good idea? And I'm going to go to Blockbusters and I'm going to rent about 10 films that I won't watch. And then they're going to be overdue and I'll have to pay about 50 quid for them later in the week.
What's top of your rental list?
SWAT.
SWAT? What are you thinking
Well,
of?
it's a really slow... Pop culturally, this is a rubbish week. There's nothing. There's nothing this week, is there? No films at the cinema, nothing to rent. It's a bunker weekend.
I'm just reeling from the fact that Brian has just told me I can't play my...
What?
I was going to play another song. And now he said he's tapping his watch and he's saying, play the adverts. It's just been one of those weeks, you know what I'm saying?
Well...
We've just been doing it for the man this week. And not for ourselves.
Well, listeners, thank you for listening. Have a great bank holiday weekend. We'll be back the same time next week for a show that's just going to kick this one out of the... I don't know what phrase I've launched into.
The dirty box.
The dirty box.
Kick
this one into the dirty box. What does that even mean?
I don't know. Yeah, have a good week. Enjoy your bank holiday. Let's hope the sun comes out. And Annie Lennox, if you're listening, I hope you have a good one as well. XFM. Lay Lady Lay, that's Monster Magnet. My name's Adam Buxton.
My name's Joe Cornish.
Why did you have to think about it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay then. And we're Adam and Joe here for the next 1 hour 55 minutes on XFM. We've got very good music coming your way from the likes of Franz Ferdinand, NERD, Snow Patrol, The Morrissey, Foo Fighters, etc., etc., as well as a few surprises we might try and slip in there. And yeah, as usual, we'll be chatting about things we've seen on television this week, movies. Movies. I feel like doing a lazy review of Troy this week.
That's a good idea. We could do a lazy review of The Last Ever Friends as well.
Oh yeah, I thought it was
Everybody's
last night.
Talking about it. It's last night in America, apparently, not in Britain. So I've been told.
Because I tuned in. I thought it was last night. I tuned in and I thought, well, this isn't the last. This is just another boring old piece of old toilet.
I tuned in and I just assumed that everyone was the last one. Ah, it's the last episode. That's a strange ending.
Yeah.
Oh no, this must be the last episode. It's so sad. And there's another one. It was like that.
Do you ever laugh during Friends?
Oh, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, because you do, don't you? Because there are funny things
no,
in
Friends is weirdly good.
It is weirdly
in a certain
good.
way.
But there's so much of it that's like a smack in the face. Do you know what I mean? It makes you just want to smash your telly. And then something will creep along and make you laugh, and then you feel quite dirty. Do you know what I'm saying? What else did you watch last night?
I watched. Well, last week we were talking. Was it last week we were talking about Craig Charles?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
We were talking about Craig Charles and the fact that he's never off the telly, and
For some reason.
he's got a new show called Weapons of Mass Distraction.
Yeah.
And I saw him. First of all, I haven't seen his new do yet. He's got an afro and a soul beard. And you know, when someone with a famous face has a new hairdo, it just looks like a costume. Because
right.
you're just used to their face looking one way, and then it just looks like he's drawn it on with a burnt cork, and he's wearing a wig. And I saw about 10 seconds of this show, but it was enough to shock my system. He was coming out of a joke, and then he introduced the band, who were Goldfrapp. But he introduced the band. He went, and now, Goldfrapp, in exactly that tone, as if they were so amazing that he was furious with whatever response the audience could give. He would be furious. He was obviously angry with them for being so amazing. So he announced them, Goldfrapp!
Yeah.
Like that.
It's just another day in the Craig Charles funky bunker of musical madness. Yeah. Well, that's an amazing show. Was it about sex again this week, do you know?
Apparently, I switched off after he said Goldfrapp like that. But yeah, apparently it was about women who'd shagged footballers.
I think it's always about sex. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if it's themed.
What isn't about sex, Adam?
Yeah. The other stuff I watched on telly last night was Distraction, not Weapons of.
Right. The Jimmy Carr game show.
Jimmy Carr game show, Channel 4, 10:30, I think it is. And surprised that I really liked it, actually. Didn't watch the whole thing, because I turned over and watched Jonathan Ross. But thought it was really strong. And Jimmy Carr really made me laugh.
Did they do the weeing game again?
Didn't see any of the games. There's quite a long bit at the...
It's a game show!
Not really. For the first 10 minutes, it's a Jimmy Carr show.
Is it?
Yeah, and they just have the guests out there, and Jimmy says funny things to them, because they're all quite well-picked, freaky people that they have.
Right.
As panellists. And Jimmy just sort of says, I'm fairly certain pre-rehearsed stuff to them, but it's funny stuff. And he does it really well, and I've never really got Jimmy Carr before. And now he's kind of manoeuvred his sort of weird shtick round to a very funny place, and he's doing it incredibly well. So I was converted. I'm a car buff.
Car buff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm car crazy.
Yeah.
I buy car magazines.
Yeah.
And Derren Brown was the other thing I watched. You've seen Derren Brown before, right?
Yes.
What do you think of the show?
I like Derren Brown. I think there's a problem with his show, though. The problem is that when they used to do Magic on telly, Paul Daniels style, they would, in fact it said this quite well in Private Eye the other week, they would lock off the camera and sustain the shot. So you knew that there was, even though it was trickery, you could guess. You know, the parameters were limited, so it was possible to guess how he might be doing it. With Derren, the show is so layered with different layers of editing, there's just so much scope for trickery that it just becomes in the end a bit...
Well, that's the thing, is because it's all about the suggestiveness of his victims, as it were. You know, the people that he does his tricks on. So, for example, last night he had a thing about what you need to do this next trick is a suggestive person, and who's more suggestive than a film student? Didn't quite follow that logic. I think it's just because, you know, they're so imaginative that they want to believe all sorts of things.
They're just gullible. They believe that they'll make films one day, and they won't, probably.
There you go. Who's more suggestible than a film student? So he does this thing where he supposedly is going to fool this guy into thinking that he's become invisible, that Derren Brown's become invisible. So presumably this is just a bit of hypnotism he does. But he does it so fast that all he does is lean over, once he's explained the premise, and say, "You can't see me anymore." And then he backs away very slowly. And sure enough, the film student's like, "What? Who said that? What's going on? Where's Derren gone?" And then Derren goes away, and he comes back in, and he's wearing like a Invisible Man outfit with bandages around him and everything, and dark glasses, and he sits down in front of the guy, and the guy can see this, right?
What, can see the Invisible Man
Can see the Invisible Man outfit.
But when he starts to take the bandages off,
the guy's mind starts blowing all over the room.
Can I tell you, like, an ancient principle of magic? There's something in magic called prompting, or cueing, and this has been going on for 100 years. I only read about it recently. And what you do is, it's a basic thing that magicians use a lot. You get an audience member up on stage, and you say, for instance, right, and you've got a microphone that's on, and you say into the microphone, ladies and gentlemen, I've never met this person before. In a second, every time I touch him, he's going to act as if he's had a huge electric shock. And then what you do is you turn to the contestant, you drop your microphone away from your mouth, so you're no longer audible, and you just say to him quietly in his ear, act like you've been shocked. And it's important to make it say it in a really angry voice. So the person goes, what did you just say to me? There's millions of people looking at me. Oh my god! And he acts like he's been shocked.
Yeah.
And everyone goes,
You don't do what I tell you, you're going to look
exactly.
like a jerk.
And that's a basic principle of magic. So when you can get away with stuff like that, the scope for stuff like that in Darren's show is just too big. I like a lot of his stuff.
I mean, I'm sure I wasn't questioning the validity of what he was doing, but it just occurred to me that actually the audience is in the same position as the guy. You're being asked to just believe a whole lot and take his word for it.
Yeah. The audience maybe isn't in the same position as the guy.
Why not?
The guy's probably on the production team.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, had a little sound effect on the end of that one.
That was lovely. That was the Strokes with 12:51. It's Adam and Joe on XFM London's 104.9. Adam's seen an advert that I have not seen, which is unusual.
Have you? I can't believe you haven't seen it. I think it's for Marks and Spencer's, and it's apparently real people who clearly aren't real people, which is a big trend in adverts at the moment.
And magic shows.
And magic shows. Talking about... I'd just like to stress very quickly that I am a big fan of Darren Brown and do enjoy the show. Because we occasionally bump into Darren and I don't want him to sort of magic my mind.
I wouldn't worry.
So this advert, there's these people sat in a room talking about all the delicious food you can get from M&S, and they seem to be real people. But the way they speak is sort of disgusting, and it turns you off the food. There's one girl particularly who says, juicy and all succulent. She does that.
Oh. What's she eating?
She's not actually eating anything. She's imagining, she's remembering how amazing it was to eat like a something.
And these are like vox pops with people in the street?
No, in their homes.
In their homes.
In their homes. And so they're sat there, and then someone says, yeah, spaghetti bolognese, linguine, lasagna. It's like an Italian banquet.
I tell you what, it is difficult to do, though. It's difficult to pretend when you're saying something scripted, it is very difficult to pretend you're being spontaneous.
Of course.
And a lot of people end up just putting gammy pauses in sentences.
That's right.
You finish, though.
Yeah, well, and there's one woman at the end who particularly freaks my mind, and she's got a really sort of filthy face, which is, I guess, why they picked her for it. And
what does a filthy face look like?
Just like a naughty, dirty pixie.
No, that's not. Brian's doing that's not a filthy face.
What was he doing? Was he sticking his tongue out?
That's just a needy face.
Yeah, that's a thick face. So I'm not even sure what she's talking about, because the people are pretending to be so real that their diction is almost completely unintelligible. And this woman says something, I don't know what she's talking about, and she goes, they entertain other parts of me that men can't reach, should you say.
What part can a man not reach?
Well, that's what I was thinking, like her guts.
Well, you can reach the guts.
I mean, but surely it's not just men who can't reach her guts.
I tell you what would be difficult. To get inside the skull would be hard.
Right,
like
her brain.
Actually tickle the brain. But you could get in there via the nostrils.
Well, what food would be doing that? I mean, the question, obviously, is that she's talking about her minky. But you know, you just think, what's she doing with the food?
Well, maybe it's a really long pointy lolly.
Okay. So we should play some music
No,
now.
not that. No, she's put it in her mouth and it's gone into her brain.
No, you're digging yourself in more. This is a new track from NERD. It's called Maybe. We've never heard it before, so you're as in the dark as us. Hope we enjoy it.
Pointy lolly.
Pointy lolly.
Love was the egg. See, and it was born at That's funny, right?
That's NERD with a track called Maybe. It sounds a bit like Randy Newman and Eagle Eye Cherry.
Yeah,
Doing a
I'm
duet.
sitting here going through the emails, and they're very, very eclectic this week.
Really?
We've got some really enthusiastic ones, people who love us, but then I'll just be feeling really Boyd.
Boyd Hilton.
Boyd Hilton, and then I'll come across one that just says "You are bad." There's another one that says, "Joe, aren't you jealous that Adam is more successful than you?"
What?
That got me. But that, you know, it's
Don't
it's
read
like
them.
an emotional roller coaster on these emails.
Jesus.
You can email us at adamandjoe@xfm.co.uk. You can text us. Can they text us, Brian? I don't know what they've rubbed it off the board, the text number. 0855